The night was completely silent. The clock had just turned 2:17 a.m. when I suddenly woke up. At first I thought it was just a bad dream, but then I heard it. Knock, knock, knock. Someone was tapping on my front door. Slow, deliberate, real. My breathing instantly got heavier. Who would come at this hour? My house stood at the edge of town, far from neighbors. No one visited this late. No one even passed by. I sat up in bed, frozen, listening. Then it came again. Knock, knock, knock. This time louder. A strange unease crept into my chest. Every instinct told me to ignore it, but something else, curiosity maybe, pulled me in. I got up slowly and turned on the light. The house felt different, too quiet. I stepped into the hallway. Each step felt heavier than the last, like the air itself was thick. As I got closer to the door, I noticed something that made my stomach drop. The knocking had stopped. Completely. Now there was nothing. No footsteps, no wind, no sound at all. Just silence. I stood there staring at the door. And then, a voice, soft, almost a whisper, from the other side. Open the door. My heart nearly stopped. I leaned in closer, my hand trembling as I reached for the handle. Who is it? I asked, my voice barely audible. No answer, just a pause. Then the whisper came again, a little clearer this time. You already know me. A cold wave ran down my spine. I stepped back. That didn't make any sense. I lived alone. There was no one who should be here. And yet, something about that voice felt familiar, not comforting, but wrong, like remembering something you wish you never had. My hand slowly moved toward the lock again. Every instinct screamed at me to stop. But I didn't, because at that moment, I made the biggest mistake of my life. I unlocked the door. Thomas couldn't move. The massive figure stepped forward, its form towering, its presence overwhelming. It wasn't just a giant. It felt ancient, powerful, aware. You carry the mark, the being said, its deep voice echoing through the chamber. Thomas looked at his hand. The same symbol, glowing faintly on his skin. I didn't choose this, Thomas whispered. The giant's eye dimmed slightly, almost understanding. None of you did, it replied. The walls around them began to glow brighter, revealing the full structure. Endless pathways, energy lines flowing like veins through the earth. This was our world, the giant continued. A network, powered by knowledge your kind once shared with us. Thomas shook his head. Then what happened? The war? The reset? A heavy silence filled the chamber. Fear, the giant said. Humans feared what they could not control. So they chose destruction over understanding. Thomas's chest tightened. So you were wiped out? Not all, the giant replied. We were sealed, buried, erased. Suddenly distant echoes rang out from above. Voices. Machines. The officials. They found this place, Thomas said. The giant turned toward the darkness. They always do. Thomas looked up. What will they do? What they have always done, the giant answered. Bury the truth, and again. The ground began to shake. Dust fell from above as explosions echoed faintly. They're collapsing it, Thomas shouted. The giant looked back at him. You must choose. Choose what? To forget or to carry the truth. The glowing symbol on Thomas's hand burned brighter. If you leave, the giant said, you will remember everything, but they will hunt you forever. And if I stay, you become part of what remains. The shaking grew stronger. Thomas closed his eyes, then made his choice. Moments later, the entrance collapsed. The site was sealed. Again. Days passed. The town returned to normal. No records, no evidence. No Thomas. Only whisper of a man who vanished. But far beneath the earth, the light still glowed. The system still lived. And the truth was no longer lost. It was waiting. I couldn't move. My eyes were locked on the TV screen, on that thing standing in my hallway. Its head twitched slightly, then tilted like it was listening. Listening for me. My breath caught in my throat. Slowly, very slowly, I turned my head away from the screen and looked toward the actual hallway. Dark. Empty. Nothing there. For a second, hope flickered inside me. Maybe it was just the TV, some kind of glitch. Then, I looked back at the screen. The figure was closer. Much closer. It hadn't walked. It hadn't made a sound, but it was now standing halfway down the hallway. Its blurred face pointed directly toward the living room. Toward me. A cold wave crashed through my body. "Move," I whispered to myself. "Just move." But my legs refused. The TV crackled louder. The image distorted, stretching, bending, and then the figure moved again. Not walking, gliding, slowly, unnaturally, closing the distance. My heart started pounding so loud I thought it would give me away. And then, the TV went black. Everything fell silent. No static, no footsteps, nothing. For a moment, there was peace. And that was the worst part. Because I knew it wasn't gone. It was just no longer on the screen. A faint sound came from behind me. A wet, dragging step, right inside the room. My blood turned to ice. I didn't want to turn around. Every instinct screamed at me not to. But something else, something deeper, forced me. Slowly, I turned. And there it was, standing at the edge of the living room. Too tall to be human. Its limbs slightly too long, slightly bent in ways they shouldn't be. Its face, still blurred. Like reality itself refused to show it clearly, but I could feel it staring at me. Not looking. Watching. Hunting. I tried to scream. But no sound came out. The thing tilted its head again, mimicking the same motion I had made earlier. Like it had learned me. Like it was copying me. And then, in a voice that sounded like mine and but wrong, broken, twisted, it spoke. "You opened the door." A tear slipped down my face. I stumbled back, shaking my head. No, stay away." But it took a step forward. Step. The floor creaked under a weight that shouldn't exist. Step. The smell of dampness filled the air like something old, rotten had just entered my home. Step. Closer now. Too close. And then, it smiled. Or at least, I think it did. Because the blur where its face should have been stretched, unnaturally wide. And in that moment, I understood something far worse than fear. This thing didn't break into my house. It didn't chase me. It didn't attack. It waited, patiently, because now, it didn't need to leave. My back hit the wall. There was nowhere left to go. The thing stood just a few steps away now, towering, silent, watching me like it had all the time in the world. My legs trembled so badly I could barely stay upright. "Please," I whispered, my voice breaking. "What do you want?" For a moment it didn't move. Then, it tilted its head again, slower this time, almost curious, and in that same broken version of my voice it replied, "You let me in." My stomach dropped. "That doesn't mean you can stay," I said quickly, desperate, my mind racing. "You need to leave right now." Silence, then a soft, distorted chuckle. It took another step closer. The air grew colder, heavier, harder to breathe. "This is my home now." "No!" I shook my head violently. "No, it's not!" I forced myself to move, sliding along the wall, trying to create distance. My eyes darted around the room, searching for anything that could help. Phone, table, kitchen, door, the front door. If I could just get outside. I made a sudden run for it. My feet slammed against the floor as I rushed past it, my heart exploding in my chest. For a split second, I thought I made it. My hand grabbed the doorknob and froze, because the door was already open, slowly creaking, as if inviting something else in. Cold wind poured through the gap. And then, another voice came from outside. Soft, familiar, my voice. "Don't close it." My entire body went rigid. Behind me, I could feel the presence of the first one. In front of me, something else was waiting, something identical. My reflection in the dark glass of the door shifted, moved even though I didn't. My reflection smiled, but I wasn't smiling. Tears filled my eyes. "This isn't real," I whispered, shaking. But deep down, I knew it was. I slowly turned my head. Behind me, the thing had stopped moving, like it was waiting for a choice. I looked back at the open door, at the darkness outside, at the version of me, standing just beyond the threshold, barely visible, but undeniably there. Both sides wanted something. Both sides were watching me. And then I understood. This was never about breaking in. This was about replacing. One of them was going to stay. And the other was going to be me. My breath trembled as I took a step back. Not toward the door, but toward the thing inside, because somehow that felt less terrifying than what was waiting outside. The creature's head slowly lifted, as if pleased, and the door behind me began to close on its own. The door slammed shut behind me. I froze as the thing stepped closer, and its face finally became clear. It was me. Perfect, calm, smiling. "You chose correctly," it said. My voice, but not mine. Before I could react, my body started moving on its own, being dragged toward the dark hallway. "No, please." I tried to resist, but something unseen pulled me in. I looked back one last time. Me, was already walking around the house like it belonged there, like it had replaced me. It turned, smiled at him, and said, "I'll take care of everything." The darkness swallowed me, and just before everything went black, I heard it. Knock, 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 from the front door, at exactly 2:17 a.m., waiting for the next person to open it.